Ladies and gentlemen, it is that time of year again where I go through and react to my 2024-25 Premier League table predictions. If you do go on to enjoy today's video, please make sure to drop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel as well. If you are new, can we try and hit 50 likes on today's video? And don't forget to get your thoughts in down in the comment section down below. How good or how bad were your Premier League table predictions? Who did you think would win the title and which three teams did you have to go back down? We'll kick things off then in at 20th place where I predicted Leicester City. In the end, they finished in 18th, so I was 2 places out with that prediction. I thought Leicester would go down. In the end, they have been relegated. I was a couple of places out with that, but I feel like going forward, a lot of the promoted teams are just coming straight back down. It's happened for the last couple of years, and it's only really something that I can see continuing over the next couple of seasons. In 19th place, I predicted Southampton FC. In the end, they finished in 20th, so I was 1 place out with that prediction. Again, I got 2 of the 3 relegated teams correct, and I'm quite happy with that prediction to only be the 1 place out. In 18th place, I predicted Nottingham Forest. They ended up finishing in 7th, so I was 11 places out with that prediction. My joint second worst prediction in this video. I somehow managed worse than that. I thought Forest would go down this season. I wanted to back Ipswich to survive. We'll obviously get onto them in a moment, but unfortunately for me, I just backed the wrong horse. I think a lot of people thought Nottingham Forest would be in and around these places again, but obviously Nuno's gone in there, done an unbelievable job. Chris Wood had a brilliant campaign. Morgan Gibbs-White were excellent again, and so many other players as well. I was massively wrong with that one. I believe Nottingham Forest will be playing in some form of European competition next campaign. Yeah, I was 11 places out with that prediction. In 17th place, I went with Ipswich Town. They ended up finishing in 19th, so I was 2 places out with that prediction. I wanted to back Ipswich to survive. I did back Ipswich to survive, but in the end, they were absolutely miles off it, especially towards the back end of the campaign where they just didn't really put up much of a fight, and it goes to show the gap between the top end of the Championship and the bottom end of the Premier League, because Ipswich on paper had probably one of the best Championship squads you'll ever see, but then it goes into the Premier League and they're absolutely miles off it, despite spending, about £100 million, something like that. They're bringing in the likes of Jack Clark, for example, who barely got a look in his game time at Ipswich, didn't really have much of an impact in all honesty, and yeah, 2 places out with that prediction. Not awful in the grand scheme of things, it definitely could have been a lot worse. In 16th place, I predicted AFC Bournemouth. In the end, they finished in 9th, so I was 7 places out with that prediction. I thought this year Bournemouth might be in and around a relegation battle. In the end, though, they have finished comfortably in the top half. I thought the loss of Dom Solanke would be quite a significant one, but in the end, Bournemouth have proved me massively wrong. They're going to lose the likes of, Kirkez at left back and a couple others this summer. They'll probably go on and replace him. They've adapted that Brighton, that Brentford model, and it's been working very well for them over the last couple of seasons, so not a great prediction from me there. In 15th place, I predicted Wolverhampton Wanderers. They ended up finishing in 16th, so I am quite happy with that one. I thought Wolves would be down and around that part of the table where you just about survive relegation, but because of the points, it is actually a little bit more comfortable than what it does look. Obviously, Mateus Cunha has now moved on to Manchester United. It'll be interesting to see how they do go about replacing him going into next season, but I am quite happy with that prediction. In 14th place, I predicted Fulham FC. They ended up finishing in 11th, so I was 3 places out with that prediction. Not awful. I thought they'd be in and around the lower part of mid-table. In the end, they were more closer to the middle part of that mid-table, but yeah, definitely could have been a lot worse, could also have been a little bit better. In 13th place, I predicted Brentford FC. In the end, they finished in 10th, so I was 3 places out with that prediction. Again, very similar to my Fulham prediction, really. I thought that it'd be in and around them lower parts of mid-table. In the end, though, they have finished smack bang in the middle of it. This summer, obviously, with Thomas Frank going to Tottenham Hotspur, I think that'll be a bit of a blow for them, and obviously it looks likely Mbeumo's going to move on to either Manchester United or Spurs, but if there's any club really that you trust to go about replacing these type of players, it is Brentford. They've adapted that model very well over the last couple of years of signing players from foreign leagues that you've not really heard of for cheaper fees and selling them on once you've developed them for much bigger fees. Now, Thomas Frank was a big part of that over the last couple of years, so it does concern me losing him, but with the gap between Brentford's squad and the 3 teams that are coming up, I do see them again being pretty fine next campaign. In 12th place, I predicted Everton FC. In the end, they finished in in 13th, so I was one place out with that prediction. I feel like under David Moyes, they're not really that club anymore that are scrapping around them relegation sort of places like what they were at times under Sean Dyche. I know they had the points deductions as well at times as well, but quite happy with that prediction. Just the one place out, obviously Everton's final season at Goodison Park. In 11th place, I predicted Brighton and Hove Albion. In the end, they finished in 8th, so I was 3 places out with that prediction. Not a great one, in all honesty. I thought they'd be in and around mid-table, but they're actually closer to them European sort of spots, so I guess I'll have to hold my hands up in that one. It's not an awful prediction, but certainly not a great one. In 10th place, I predicted Crystal Palace. In the end, they finished in 12th, so I was 2 places out with that one. Again, not an awful prediction. I thought Palace would be in and around mid-table. They were a little bit lower than what I did originally think, but again, not an awful prediction from me then. Obviously, they did go on to win the FA Cup. I'm sure they'd rather finish 12th and have an FA Cup than finish 10th and no FA Cup, obviously. And it'll be interesting to see if they do actually get knocked out of the European sort of competitions because of their owners and all that sort of stuff. It's absolutely ridiculous what's going on, considering how the rules always get bent for the massive clubs. As soon as you get a smaller club that actually do something successful, the hierarchy, you away from all that sort of stuff, they immediately try and take it all away, don't they? In 9th place, I predicted West Ham United. In the end, they finished in 14th, so I was 5 places out with that prediction. Pretty poor one, in all honesty, from me there. I thought West Ham would have an outside chance of competing for them at European sort of places. In the end, though, I was quite far out with that one. I feel like with these mid-table sort of sides, if you're within 2 or 3 places, it's a decent prediction, but any more than that, it is a pretty poor one. And yeah, really, really underwhelming prediction from me there. But I feel like with the squad that West Ham have got, the money that's been spent on that squad, surely they should be doing much better than 14th. In 8th place, I predicted Chelsea FC. In the end, they finished in 4th, so I was 4 places out with that prediction. Chelsea were always a little bit of an unknown. You never really knew how they were going to get on under Enzo Maresca. Obviously, they've spent a lot of money, brought a lot of players in through the door over the last couple of years, so they were a little bit of an unknown. I went a bit safe and thought I kind of go worst case scenario, but in the end they actually made it into the Champions League pretty comfortably as well, so 4 places out with that prediction. In 7th place, I predicted Aston Villa. In the end they finished in 6th, so I was 1 place out with that prediction. Pretty happy with that, in all honesty. I expected them to kick on a little bit under Unai Emery, and obviously they had the disappointment on the final day, missing out on the Champions League, but obviously they'll be in the Europa League next campaign, and I'm sure, Unai Emery's an absolute master at that competition, isn't he? So it wouldn't surprise me if Villa do go on to win that. In 6th place, I predicted Newcastle United. In the end, they finished in 5th. I believe that does mean they qualify for the Champions League, which is obviously great news for them. They needed to kick on under anyhow, and I think next season, if they get a centre-back in, I could certainly see them competing for that top 4, top 5 again, and obviously nice for them to be back in the Champions League spots, and again, pretty happy with that prediction. In 5th place, I predicted Liverpool FC. In the end, they finished in 1st, so I was 4 places out with that prediction. I thought they'd just scrape that final Champions League spot. In the end, though, they massively kicked on under Arne Slot, and I don't think many people expected them to go on and win the title. Yes, the pressure wasn't really there from Man City or Arsenal this season, but I don't think many people would have backed Liverpool for the title, in all honesty. Looking at what Jurgen Klopp had done, it looked like he was overperforming, but judging by what Arne Slot's done in his first full season, then you'd probably say Jurgen Klopp was actually underperforming with the squad that he did have. Obviously, Mo Salah had an absolutely outstanding campaign, and 4 places out, it's not an awful prediction. The next 2 are certainly a lot worse, but yeah, definitely not a good one from me there. In 4th position, I predicted Manchester United. In the end, they finished in 15th, so I was 11 places out with that one. An absolutely awful prediction from me. I thought they'd make it into the top 4. In the end, they weren't a million miles off relegation, and if it wasn't for somebody like Bruno Fernandes, they would have genuinely gone down this season, which is crazy to say. I think the standards at Manchester United have certainly fallen over the last couple of seasons. I don't see Ruben Amorim being the long-term answer at Manchester United, but you look at the recruitment, the money they've spent, and the quality of that squad is awful. Now, obviously, because of how poor they've been pretty much since Sir Alex Ferguson left the football club, but especially over the last couple of seasons, it's not easy to go and attract them real elite level players. But is Mateus Cunha really Manchester United standard, or are they now going to have to rebuild and go for these good Premier League players to then try and get back into the European competitions, because obviously 15th in the Premier League for Manchester United, that is absolutely criminal. When I were growing up, they were always challenging for the title, and now they can't even scrape into the top half. An absolutely awful season from them, and not a great prediction from me whatsoever. But it doesn't get better. In third place, I predicted at Tottenham Hotspur. In the end, they finished in 17th, only just avoiding relegation by 1 place. Yes, the points made it a little bit closer, but I was 14 places out with that prediction. I think that's my worst ever prediction in a Premier League table. Obviously, I've had some in the EFL where I'm 17 places out on, 19 places out I think I've had as well, but 14 places out in the Premier League is awful. I thought Spurs would kick on this season under Ange Postecoglou. Obviously, they won their first trophy, which, great news for them in, well, not their history. They won the first trophy in a long time, but in terms of their league campaign, they were absolutely awful. Yes, they were prioritising trying to win that trophy, with Postecoglou coming out and saying he always wins things in his second season. I'm sure Spurs fans, there's no real difference between finishing like 9th and 17th really, and they've obviously gone on and won a trophy, so I'm sure they'll certainly take that. But next season under Thomas Frank, they will have to kick on, certainly be back into that top half. Obviously, injuries played their part as well this season. I do think Spurs at times obviously missed some very key players. In second place, I predicted Arsenal FC. In the end, they finished in second, so I'm very happy with that prediction. I pick up no extra points for that one. It's the only correct prediction in today's video. I just thought, again, Arsenal just have not got that bit between their teeth. They've just not got it in them to get over the line and win a league title, or even win a trophy. For me, I don't think Mikel Arteta is the man. I don't see them winning the title next season. And how much longer can Arsenal fans accept just finishing second and putting on the pressure and not winning any trophies? This is the exact thing that they were mocking Tottenham for so many years, and now they have become that club as well. And in first place, winning the title, I predicted Manchester City. In the end, they finished in third, 2 places out with that prediction. Not a great one from me whatsoever. I didn't see Man City struggling as much as what they did this campaign, but I'm sure they've already spent a bit of money this summer. I do expect them to kick on and go again next season and really compete with Liverpool for that title, and who knows, could we see a Chelsea potentially competing for the Premier League title next campaign. In terms then of my total accumulated points, in the 2022-23 campaign I got 80 points that season. In the 23-24 campaign I got just 42 points, and this season I've accumulated 78 points, so smack bang in the middle from my 3 seasons of Premier League predictions. Not awful, but certainly not great whatsoever. At least I've not got my lowest, but I'm absolutely miles off my best ever prediction. Is that about 36 points out, something like that? Obviously, the Spurs, the Manchester United, the Forest, them 3 predictions have really killed me, but the Bournemouths, the West Hams, you just can't really account for them type of mistakes, in all honesty. But I'm going to leave it there for today's video. If you have enjoyed, please make sure to drop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel as well if you are new. Can we try and hit 50 likes as I mentioned at the start of today's video? And don't forget to get your thoughts in down in the comment section down below. How good or how bad were your Premier League table predictions? Thank you all for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you very soon for another one.